Welcome to Across the Desk and our new podcast series in partnership with Odin, the Ontario Disability Employment Network, and the March of Dimes. We're focusing on the MentorAbility program, which connects people with disabilities to employment opportunities through mentorship. Hello and welcome to Across the Desk. My name is Elizabeth Bloof and I am the host of Across the Desk, as I am every week. Always introduce myself. I'm excited today to continue with our podcast series with MentorAbility Ontario, and I'm welcoming across the desk Tiffany Drummond.
Hello, thank you for having me.
See, most guests just nod or something, and then I have to go, hey, podcast, no nodding. Nobody sees nodding, but we're also doing a video as well. So that works out really well. And it's an exciting thing that we're talking about today, because one of the main goals with MentorAbility Ontario is to provide opportunities for people with disabilities to have some experiences in the workplace. And this can look like, actually, what I really like about it is it's customizable. So between the employer and the protégé, how that arrangement works out is between them. And we're excited to welcome Tiffany today because Tiffany is the owner of ProCare Family Center. And I'm going to invite her to sort of give her background, and then we'll talk about what ProCare does.
Well, thank you again. So yes, I own ProCare Family Center in Ottawa. We've been around for 10 years now. And before we got started, I worked at a childcare center. Love the field of working with children, so ventured off into opening my own agency. I then got a job with Algonquin College working in the early childhood education program, where I've actually hired all of our staff for ProCare who were students from Algonquin. And it's been a wonderful relationship between my workplace of a childcare center and as well working with Algonquin College. So through my years of experience in childcare and as well teaching and being a role model, I feel like working with MentorAbility has been a next great step.
And so I noticed through the About page that you started out in one location. And as we were talking beforehand, you mentioned that you're on a 3-year waiting list right now. So obviously ProCare is delivering fantastic care. And your business partner, Erin Choi, is also involved in developing the program and how your organization runs.
Absolutely. So when we first opened, we were leasing a facility on Holland Avenue in Ottawa in the Wellington West area. Then at about our 5-year mark, we actually purchased a new location, did a big renovation, and then branched into full day learning. So initially we were just before and after school, and now we're doing the full day learning. Erin and I, we were colleagues at the same agency before opening up our own. And the great thing about our partnership is we have different skill sets. So we let each other shine in our own areas. So Erin tends to do more of the budgeting, the payroll, the finance component of the operation. And then I'm dealing more with the management, the HR, the families, and that sort of area. So both of us together love the field of ECE, and then we took our skill sets and then continue to grow ProCare to where we're at. And as you mentioned, we now have a 3-year wait list, which we're extremely proud of, and we love servicing our community.
So it's moving back into the relationship with Algonquin. It's not just Tiffany and Erin who are providing the care. Obviously, they've been promoted. And the reason they've been able to be promoted, how many graduates have you hired so far from Algonquin?
So currently graduates of Algonquin, we have 13 on our staff list.
So we need to change that. That's a bad number.
We'll get someone else this year in.
Well, and that's part of it, right? As you grow, so as any entrepreneur knows, any organization knows, as you grow, you run into situations where you do have to start hiring staff. And this is where the MentorAbility Ontario program comes into the picture, because it's a fantastic way, not only for somebody with a disability to sort of job shadow and start investigating different careers, but for employers to learn about the value of hiring somebody with a disability. And is that a good fit? And so tell us a little bit how you got involved with the MentorAbility Ontario program.
Absolutely. And I would also like to mention, we do have people that work that aren't also graduates of Algonquin. And you're correct. That's a great way where the MentorAbility comes in. So I went to high school with a friend of mine who works for MentorAbility, and she has reached out to me asking if I'd be interested in having a job seeker come shadow me at ProCare. And I was 100% in. I thought it would be a great opportunity, not only for the job seeker, but also for myself and for my whole team to be able to have this experience at our center. So in taking on our job seeker, she worked and shadowed with me for an entire day. And it was amazing seeing what she was able to do, what she enjoyed doing, what she was remembering about the operation of daycare. If you can imagine, there's a lot of moving parts. But with that being said, there's a lot of areas and behind the scene work that are very important to the operation that you could have anyone be able to do if they're interested and willing.
And that's what I found. So, Tiffany and I had a great conversation beforehand and went into a bit more detail, which we'll tease out as we go through. And I think anybody, like I'm mom of two kids, one of whom is on the spectrum, and trying to help with those career choices is such a challenge, because you're committing to, education and paying for that and what have you. And this program is an excellent opportunity to kind of go in. Everybody's got interests, everybody's got strengths, everybody's got things that they want to explore. How does that fit with a job? And the opportunity that you provided to this protege to be able to come in and not only shadow you, but see how your team works together, see how your organization structure things. When you say a lot of moving parts, you've got a lot of little kids running around, which just creates, I only have two, and that's enough chaos. I'm telling you, my living room used to look like Mattel toys threw up. It was crazy. But you're also very concerned, understandably, about safety and about the education. And, the center provides themes each month, and it provides learning tools, and it provides all kinds of things that are helping that child get ready for their education experience. And that's really positive thing to be involved with. So if you have somebody who's interested in working with kids, it's not just getting on the floor with the kids and playing. Tiffany's organization, if you look into, I found it fascinating when we went on the website, the number of services they provide between play groups and preschool programs and training programs and what have you. Moving parts is the least of what you're doing right now. So the interesting thing was with this particular protege is that Tiffany's got something set up in her organization, which makes life easier for everybody, which we were just saying, it would be so nice if more organizations did this. Because could you share what helps to make life easier for your staff?
Absolutely. I'm glad to share that. For us, lists help us. Having visual cues, if you will, in the center at different parts of the center. Maybe you're in the laundry room or the toy storage. Maybe you're in the art corner, right? Just having those lists of what needs to get done or where things should be going helps us stay organized and stay on top of the tasks at hand. Because again, we've said moving parts. There's a lot of cot sheets have to be cleaned. The cots need to be stored away. The toys need to be disinfected. Are we out of paint? There's so many things that help a daycare center run, as any industry would have for their company. But in our company, children thrive from visualization or visuals around the classroom. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, why won't adults? So we decided to implement that at ProCare, where anywhere you go, you'll see little like cues, little visuals, or a list that can be easily to identify.
And somebody we were talking about beforehand, Dr. Temple Grandin, is a huge proponent of lists and organization tools. And one of the reasons we bring this up is that through the MentorAbility program, if you are bringing somebody in with a disability, there can't be that assumption that they're just going to osmotically pick up the information. And Tiffany made a really good point that a lot of people sit in meetings, neurotypical or neurodivergent, and nod. Mm-hmm. And they need a list. They need that. I need a list constantly. We were talking about executive function. And I think this is a good employer tip, that the way Tiffany set this up, I love that. When you said that you've got lists and the visual organizers and the whatever for everybody, it normalizes it as a really good organizational tool. And just nobody has to second guess. Nobody has to worry about asking a silly question. They can just go ahead and be even more successful within a role that they're learning to love. So this protege got the opportunity to spend the day with you. And you had mentioned that not only was she working, in the back, seeing the list and whatever, but she was in working with the kids. And so what happened with that?
Yeah, she loved being with the children. She thought it was so fascinating watching them play with each other when they would go up to her and give her a great big smile or want to give her a hug or a high five or share their toy. It just made her feel so part of the classroom. And that's the beautiful thing, especially in my opinion, around children, their innocence and their ability to be able to adapt and include and participate with whoever is in their room. So she absolutely just thrived when she was in the classroom. She loved, the laundry and doing that area, but she said if she were to work there, she wants to make sure she gets to go in the room and have a little bit of playtime. And I said,
which everybody, right?
Yeah, it is.
See, I think that's the best part about daycare is that you can play for a little while and then you hand them back.
Exactly.
And then it's all good. You get your fix.
But I wanted to add to the point with the list, just for any employer, if you are listening to this, I also have staff on my team that they found areas that we could even add more lists or do better with our visuals. So I think empowering even your team, if that's not a skill set that you have, to say, does anyone feel like you want to take that on as a task to add some lists or in their day? You might be actually giving them something that brings them pride, will help their job and help the colleagues around. So if you find that's not your area of comfort to make these lists and visuals, talk to your team and see. You might be surprised who would be happily to take on that role.
And this is where the opportunity to diversify your team through the MentorAbility program comes in, because we all have blind spots in how we function and how our organization functions. And somebody who has a challenge, could be a learning disability, could be autism, could be anything, will come in and be able to identify where some of your gaps might be as far as your communication style or tools that might be more helpful or something in the routine of the day. And typically that makes it better for everybody, because other people could be having the same struggle, but not be comfortable. Nobody likes to, I don't believe in anybody looking, I hate using the word stupid, but everybody's got something they want to ask a question about. And this is where becoming involved in the program could bring to light some issues that could make life easier for your staff across the board, which would be a fantastic thing. So at the end of the day, this wonderful protege came through and she was able to participate on the front end, and she was able to meet the team and see how the team functioned and how things went on the back end. What was some of the feedback that you gained from this person's experience?
What I gained from her experience is that she, one, really enjoyed working with children. I gained that she has her own skill sets that would be completely valuable to my organization or to any organization for that matter. I also believe that in taking on these job seekers and doing these MentorAbility programs where they could come in and get the hands-on experience, it's a great opportunity for the job seeker to see if this is the workplace that they would be interested in, or as well for the employer. And a lot of the times you will know other people in different industries or whatnot that you can maybe refer that person to, or give them another idea to go venture and explore that industry. So I did find that through this MentorAbility, I gained a lot of insight. I hope that the job seeker did as well. And from her feedback, it appeared that she did, and she just really enjoyed being at work and having, the responsibility and the job to do.
And that can influence her future education choices. It can influence any kind of, other courses or learning that she might take. It might parlay into other opportunities to work with kids. I know for my own daughter, she was going to be a teacher for many, many years. She's kind of gone back and forth on that, and now steering towards back with kids. She seems to be the kid whisperer. I don't know. Does not get that from her mother. Yeah, no, she's going to go into potentially being an occupational therapist, because she's always wanted to do something with, with some kind of healthcare background or what have you. But that's what this can provide. Not only, for the job seeker to be able to go, okay, this might not be the right fit, but parts of it were. And like you mentioned, this job seeker found that feedback, that engagement with the children was really good for her. Mm-hmm. Okay, so maybe what are some other ways that this could be successful? And for you to look at your network, I think that's fantastic, which everybody can do.
Yeah.
If you're in this, it's because you understand the value of being a mentor. You understand the value of people coming in and trying it out, and the powerful impact that can have on somebody's life. And it's also it's a bit of a working interview. I think we had talked about that as well. This particular,
she was so authentic through the entire day. She was
fantastic.
Everything about how she felt. And I felt like that was such a breath of fresh air, if you will, because typically in a job interview, you're just trying to impress the employer. You're just trying to tell them everything they want to hear, when in fact, it may not actually pan out to what you're thinking. Versus this working job interview, I felt like I got to know her through and through, and she was so honest and authentic throughout the whole day, whether it be about the task, if she was comfortable or if she wasn't, asking questions about why we do things, and I was just so inspired by her.
I wonder, so what did you find any learnings from having her ask you certain questions, like things you either may not have been aware of, or it confirmed some things for you, like the lists being such a positive thing?
Lists as the example. And even we added a few more lists because she had mentioned like, oh, well, I see you have lists here, but the laundry list would be helpful of like exactly which button to press to get to going, or what detergent I should be using. And so I found a lot of it was almost confirming what we already have implemented, but which is good. And that's kudos to my entire team, because and my business partner, because at ProCare we like to everyone's voice matters. So to me, in order for ProCare to be successful for our clients and our families, I want everyone's feedback and opinion, so that we are creating a community that is inclusive and hearing all points. So that's just how I like to run my operation. But I do find with the job seeker, it was definitely just reconfirming that she felt walking into the space that it was a homey environment, that it was comforting, that she felt safe there, and she felt supported by the team.
And so and I'm always a firm believer in confirming that you're on the right track. And so that's sort of a side benefit. It's certainly not a metric or a goal, but it's a side benefit that if you're doing something a little outside the box, like the lists, which I wish more organizations would do, then, you know that you're on the right track. And I've heard Dr. Grandin speak a number of times. And like I say, her point repeatedly is not only does she use lists, but NASA spaceships do not take off until the checklist has been completed. So if Colonel Hadfield can follow a checklist, people, then there is value in providing that for certain tasks for your employees. Certainly a helpful thing.
I would also say with MentorAbility, I've done a few sort of call interviews where I've had job seekers have a Zoom session with me. So it wasn't a full day working interview, but they were able to just call and ask questions about daycare, or about really any questions that they had on their head, on the top of their head, and I'd answer to the best of my ability. But I felt that was also a great opportunity to get to meet them and just have them ask these questions. And at the end of these calls, the job seekers were able to say, well, I realize that this may not be the field, or I see more my strengths are here. And it was just a great discussion and conversation to have with them.
And so for somebody who is, like you had mentioned before, that you enjoy being a mentor, and, of course, working again with Algonquin, that kind of comes back to your inherent enjoyment of teaching and passing on knowledge. And that's another positive to be gained out of, applying to become a mentor with the program, which is a fantastic thing. We did this earlier. I was heading somewhere with that, and then it just went completely out the window.
It happens.
It was the COVID thing. That was it. So the connection to the Zoom calls is that Tiffany had this experience with this protégée just at the start of COVID, which has put a crimp in a lot of things. But I know myself, I graduated in 2012 out of a postgraduate in corporate communications, and I did 14 informational interviews. And it was simply connecting to my network or people I had met with, going in with a list of questions and talking to them about what they were doing and why they were doing it and what have you. So that part of the program is definitely still happening, in that if you're listening and you're interested in learning about a job, then this is a way to do that. And you have open-hearted people like Tiffany who are available to chat with you about what they organize. Everybody likes to talk about what they do, especially if they're passionate about it.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic, way to continue moving towards your employment goals without. Right now, of course, we're just for a little timestamp. We're in the year 652 of the pandemic.
That way for sure.
We're going into year 2 of the pandemic, and that's definitely sidelined a lot of job shadowing and face-to-face meetings and what have you. But there is value in Zoom. There is value in still connecting with these professionals. And likewise, employers, this is still an opportunity to potentially tap into a job market that you haven't looked at before. There's huge value in this process.
I would agree. There's huge value. And even just for the Zooms that I had with the job seekers, as you know, through conversations, sometimes it could spark an interest of your own, or it could spark a question that you could pose to someone else. So as I'm talking with some of these job seekers, I'm like, oh, you can maybe look at this or search up this, or, what about this sort of industry? And then they are then being inspired or having different ideas just from having a conversation with a different
Absolutely.
person. So I agree. It's very valuable.
Yeah, and that's, if you're watching the video, you can see behind me, I'm a huge believer in whiteboards because it's great to have a conversation with yourself, but you're only confirming your own biases. So if you have the opportunity to talk to somebody, you then broaden your understanding in a way that you can't do otherwise. Doing research is fantastic and I highly recommend it, but having a chat with somebody who's in the know, that makes a huge difference as well. So if you're interested, if you've been intrigued as either a candidate to be a protege or as an employer to offer an opportunity to be a mentor, you can visit the Odin site, which has the MentorAbility Ontario program. So odinnetwork.com, and then you can search MentorAbility Ontario, or you can visit the supportedemployment.ca website, which is CASE. And the MentorAbility program is all there, as well as the applications and the site partners who are helping to take care of this. So for MentorAbility Ontario, it's being delivered right now through Odin and through the March of Dimes. And your connections to that would be Amy Widows, who is the program manager through Odin, or Lisa Livingston, who is helping to run this through the March of Dimes. So there is some, the MentorAbility information is on the Odin website under MentorAbility Ontario, and you can check it out there. Amy's contact information is there as well. And learn more about it and get involved, because this is how we help shape our future workforce. This is how we make the most of our Canadians with challenges who should be out working and just need a little nudge, a little mentorship, a little something, something.
And I'm sure for any of the employers, you'll probably have the strongest, most reliable, dedicated employees with these job seekers.
Absolutely.
Because they're going to take so much pride in what they do. And that's what I've seen through the experiences that I've had with MentorAbility.
See, just positives all around, people. Put a little maple syrup on that and we're just sweet. It's just a good thing. Canadians are friendly. We're supposed to be nice.
Hey.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, we'll go there on another day. So you can also, if you want to learn more about what Tiffany and her team are up to, you can visit the ProCare Center .ca, and you can't get in because they're packed to the teeth. But they're continuing to operate through COVID, which is a challenging time for everybody. And it's, and you are offering some online programs and things like that, which is fantastic I know the Ottawa area has been hit off and on with COVID. So always nice to have an option for something for your kids to do.
Exactly. Good entertainment with some learning and fun.
See, that's what it's all about. That's why she's got the solar system books. You can learn about the stars and colors and everything.
Colors, numbers, songs.
And if you feel that that's something you'd be interested in for a future career, then take a look. The contact information is there on the website for ProCare Center. And maybe you can chat with Tiffany at some point through the MentorAbility program. So thank you for joining me today, Tiffany. We are going to wrap it up. Is there any best lessons or anything? I think we've covered pretty much everything.
I think we covered everything. Thank you so much for interviewing me. I just want to, last notes would be positive, do your best, help out your community, inspire where you can, and look at these job seekers. They're definitely going to be great for your corporation, I'm sure.
And ProCare is open to taking on another protege as it allows COVID restrictions and everything else. So you can definitely, if you're in the Ottawa area, you might be able to get to meet Tiffany and go hang out. Thank you very much for joining us today, everybody. Again, this is the MentorAbility podcast, and we are here to focus on the MentorAbility program that's running in Ontario through Odin and through March of Dimes. and also through CASE, which is the Canadian Association for Supported Employment, and the MentorAbility Across Canada program. So thank you very much for joining us today. Tiffany, you're going to stay on. We're going to say goodbye to everybody else.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Across the Desk. Please visit spirocareerscanada.ca to learn more about our podcast series partners and to learn more about what Spiro Careers Canada is doing to remove barriers to employment for the autism community.